Doing a series called Known. So all semester long, we're going to go into this series called Known. And it started with the retreat. Now, I know not everyone was able to come on the retreat 2 weekends ago, and that's okay, because we're actually going to recap a lot of that stuff so that everyone here still has the opportunity to experience the graces that the Lord has this semester. It's really cool. When we were planning this semester, last semester, the whole team gathered together on a Sunday afternoon before flock. And I handed them sheets. I said, here's the schedule for next semester. Here's a box for you to draw on ideas. Go over to the church and start praying and say, God, what do you want to say to these people? So they all went over and started writing, and I started writing too. It was really amazing because nothing that I wrote down did any of them write it down. But everything that they wrote down, someone else had written down. And it was really amazing because the Lord reminded me that this is not my program, this is like your program. And that these leaders are here to serve you. But it also confirmed that the Lord had something that He wanted to say to you guys. Like He wants you guys to be known. And the first night, next one, Davis, is Abba, right? Who is the Father? Skip to the two more. The triangle one with the words. And in this series, in this being known, we have to come into relationship with the Father first. Right? We have to come into relationship with God. And that's where we're going to start tonight, is we're going to tackle that idea. Now, most of you already have some semblance of a relationship with God. Like you're at least an acquaintance with God. You've talked to Him before, you know a little bit about Him. Right? And we're just going to have a quick night where we dive in a little bit to what a relationship with God looks like, especially the Father. Because when we're in relationship with God, we discover our identity. Right? It moves down into there. Once we know whose we are, we can find out who we are. And a lot of times we get those messed up, we get those turned around. We think that if we discover who we are, then the rest of our life will make sense. But if we don't know whose we are first, then we can't know who we are. Because if we don't know whose we are, we don't know why we're created. Father Brian talked about it in his homily, about how we have to know the history, we have to know the path. I got really excited when they said, I'm reading from the book of Nehemiah this morning. And most of you guys are like, I didn't even know that was a book in the Bible. Right? Did anybody else have that thought? I didn't even know that. Who even heard that it was from Nehemiah? And there were some of you guys like, I didn't even hear what they said. They just started talking, and I was already thinking about last night. Right? It happens sometimes. But Nehemiah is really exciting. And I've done a whole retreat on Nehemiah and Ezra. And so I understand the beauty of these people and what they were going through and how they were in exile and the Lord brought them back. Right? And one of my favorite parts of Nehemiah is that they come back and the people, they see Jerusalem. And the old men start weeping at the side of the temple, which was been destroyed. But all the young people start rejoicing. Because they see that God is doing a new thing. Which reminds me that we were going to do a new thing tonight, but because I've been so scatterbrained, because Jordan's not here and I'm dying, I forgot. We're gonna. Some of you guys came to a couple of leaders and said that it was hard to transition from the game into something serious. So we had a video, so that helped a little bit. We're going to start singing at least a song or two to transition from the game into the talk. And we're not just going to go immediately from a game into a wow worship song. We're actually going to have a fun song, right? There are Christian songs that are still praising God and talking about the good things they're doing, but they're more upbeat and they're kind of fun. And we'll sing one of those, and then we'll sing a more worshipy song to get us moving in there, right? But what that does is it reminds us that after we've had our fun, that we still came here to go deeper into our relationship with God. We've come here because we want to know more about who we are, what our identity is, right? And because ultimately we want to go on mission, right? That's the fun part. Going on mission is the exciting part. And over the course of this semester, we're going to spend a lot of time in identity. Because most of us don't know who we are. Most of us have spent our entire lives trying to figure out who we are, and we've actually tried to decide who we are based on what we do. We've been asked over and over again, what are you going to do when you grow up? What are you going to do when you grow up? What are you going to do when you grow up? How are you doing in school? Well, how are sports going? How is dance or theater or whatever thing that you do is? That's the first thing that people ask you about, because the world has taught us that our identity lies in what we do instead of in who we are. But we're not human doings, we're human beings. I've said it to you guys before. It's not about what we do, it's about who we are. And we are meant to be in relationship with the Father. And when we're in relationship with the Father and we know who we are, then we can go out into the world and we can be on mission. Right? And also, over this next few months and into next year, we're going to really define what that means. I've been praying a lot over the past month about this program, looking around the room and saying, hey, half the program graduates in 4 months. What happens then? Seniors, what legacy are you leaving behind? Freshmen, sophomore, juniors, what are you stepping up into? Right? And I haven't done a good job these past few years of laying out a path of this is what it looks like to be on mission. This is what it looks like to be a disciple for Jesus Christ, and this is how you get here. This is how you evaluate your life. Okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm not doing, and here are the steps that I need to take to go and make disciples of all nations. Because Jesus didn't say, hey, I came so that like I could just save you guys and then we could all be in heaven. He came and said, like, now, yes, I've saved you. This is really good, right? I've glorified the Father. I've been crucified. You can have salvation. But now go and make disciples of all nations. Because that's our end goal. Is to go announce to a broken world that God is who He says He is. That He's a good, good Father. And that's what Jesus did in the gospel today, is He gets up there in front of everyone and it says, Jesus was at the synagogue and He just walked up, right? That's what happened. They would all gather around. It wasn't like a big church like we picture it, but a lot of times they just gather in a house or in an open area, or they'd have a place set aside for worship. And there'd be just like a little stand. Like imagine if I had like a little podium that I could stand on. And the person would come up, the rabbi, the teacher would come up, and they'd hand him a scroll, and he'd read it, and then he'd talk about it for hours and hours and hours, because the rabbis, the Pharisees, the Sadducees were so well versed in the law. But Jesus, He only read like 4 lines. He went to Isaiah 61, He said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for I have been anointed to bring glad tidings to the poor, to set free the captives, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim release to the prisoners." And then He just goes and sits down. It's like I came up and I gave my talk, and I said I talked for like 5 minutes. John, give me the check! And I just like sat down. You guys would be like, what's happening right now? And then Jesus goes, in the original mic drop, "Behold, this has been fulfilled in your midst." Right? Isn't that weird? Like that's what He does. Is He goes and reads 4 lines and then sits down, and everyone's just like, well, that talks about the Messiah. What's happening right now? Why didn't He explain it to us? And He just goes, from the crowd, "Behold, this has been fulfilled in your midst. Behold, I am God." People get worked up. People get mad. Right? Because they don't know who God is and they don't know who they are. And that's what Jesus comes to reveal. He comes to reveal the Father and to teach us who we are. He teaches us how to be sons. Because if we don't know that God loves us and has a plan for our life, then any sin, any brokenness, any frustration that comes into our life, it can just knock us completely off path. Right? If we don't have a deep understanding of God's love for us, if we don't have a deep understanding that He has created us with a plan, with a mission to accomplish, then it's so easy for us to get knocked off our path. Right? And so Jesus came, and He said, hey, let me actually reveal to you who the Father is. Let me actually reveal to you how valuable you are. Let me get up on this cross, not because anyone did it to me, but because I chose it of my own free will, and let me die here. Right? A couple weeks ago, I was at a conference in Toledo. Crazy things happened, but one of the things that stands out the most in my mind, there's this woman there. And a really long story short is some guy walked up to her and said, hey, Jesus told me your ankle was hurt and I want to pray with your ankle. And she goes, wait, you know Jesus, I need to talk to you. Pulls him aside and says, I've been having these dreams every night for 2 months of this woman with beautiful dark hair and a very beautiful pale face. And she just comes to me, and I'm in the marketplace, and she goes, do you know that Yeshua? This is a big old black woman from Sierra Leone. And she goes, I do not know what you say. And the woman goes, do you know the Yeshua? And she's like, I don't know what you say. And the third time, do you know the Yeshua? You need to know the Yeshua. And then she walks away. And the woman would wake up every night for 2 months. And Mary was appearing to this Muslim woman who had come to America and inviting her into a relationship with Jesus. And so my friend, who was coming to pray over her ankle, got instead to announce to her the salvation of Jesus Christ. And this woman got up on the stage 6 months after this had happened and shared pictures of her baptism. And shared the way that God had been moving in her life and speaking in her life. And what my favorite part of the story is not even that crazy stuff. My favorite part is that she was going through this conversion process. One of the missionaries that worked with Patrick would go to her house every Thursday, and they would sit in their house, and for 3 hours they would just read one chapter of the Gospel of John at a time. Because that's all they could get through. Because Raylan and her family would lose their mind every time Jesus did something. They spent 2 hours talking about Jesus walking on water. Guys, I think we've lost our wonder. Like, I think that when we hear about the miracles and the things that Jesus is doing, we've lost our ability to be in awe. We've forgotten that God loves us and has a plan for our life. We've forgotten that we matter. We've forgotten how horrific the cross is because we've been staring at it every day for 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years of our lives. And we've forgotten who He is, and we've forgotten who we are, and then no one is going out on mission. And people are dying. Or worse, is people are trying to go out on mission without knowing who they are and whose they are. And they're making a mess of things. Or they're encountering difficulty and frustration, and they keep charging this way, but when we encounter difficulty, we're actually supposed to go back into the Father and say, wait a minute, who are you? Because when Jesus was in Gethsemane, right, accomplishing His mission, He didn't push through on His own. He went back to the Father and said, Father, do I have to do this? Not my will, but yours be done. And He went deeper into the Father's heart. So that when He got on the cross, He was revealing His identity given by the Father and accomplishing His mission.